Okay, ready.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here for our 11 Days of Global Unity, our 15th anniversary. This is a place where we are talking about the 11 themes to help co-create a world that works for all of us. I am Karen Palmer. I'm known as Mindful Media Mom and Miss Kindness on all social media. And I am one of your hosts here for this amazing TeleSummit. And my co-host is the amazing Mr. Rick Ulfik, who is the founder of We the World, which is we.net. You can check out we.net. And that is a global platform to unite and amplify the efforts of people, organizations, and movements working for the common good. With participants such as Desmond Tutu, Jane Goodall, Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson, Bill McKibben, and many, many, many more. And Rick, welcome.
Gotta unmute myself. Thank you, Karen. It's always a pleasure to co-host these broadcasts with you. And we have such a great panel today. It's so exciting. But let me tell our viewers about you. Our host is Karen Palmer, a mom who made a wish that sparked a kindness revolution. She is a global kindness leader and educator at globalkindnesstv.org. And she is a live stream and social media expert, a best-selling author, and she co-produces several popular online talk shows, including the Welcome to We show of We the World. Thank you, Karen. And thank you all so much for joining us today. We encourage you to check out all the panels we're doing for 11 Days of Global Unity, this TeleSummit, on each of the 11 campaigns for change. And we always say that together they form a blueprint for global transformation. Today we will be talking about children and youth with a focus on youth activism for the health and well-being of people and the planet. To discuss this, we are excited to be joined by climate activist Jamie Margolin and founder of International Children's Month, Heidi Little. Before we speak with them, let's hear from some children ages 12 down to 5 years old who have an urgent message for all of us. And I'm going to share this video of these kids. Stand by.
Attention!
Attention!
Can I have your attention, please?
It's urgent!
Urgent!
It's urgent! This is
An urgent message
from your children!
I feel really scared.
The environment is kind of just getting torn apart.
There's pollution, global warming, and people are just not caring about it.
Nature is getting destroyed. I mean, there's a bunch of logging, there's water pollution, there's air pollution.
I'm really concerned about fracking because I don't have no good water to drink.
Pipelines with gas inside, they can also explode.
And some people are throwing garbage in the ocean that makes the ocean polluted. So animals are also getting sick and can die out there. If animals are getting extinct, one day we're gonna get extinct if you don't stop.
This makes me feel mad.
It makes me feel upset. I think it's terrible.
I feel ashamed because so far very few people are doing something about it. We will be sad because we don't have anywhere else to live.
I'm worried that this generation will be ruined and there will be nothing left for the next generation.
If this keeps going, well, the whole world is really gonna collapse.
Just give me a minute, please.
If we don't stop this, it will lead to a global disaster or even the destruction of Earth.
If we destroy all of this, then we'll have no other planet to live on. People act like it's nothing and it won't affect them, but soon it will.
Sometime in the future, I may be dead, I may not. It's going to affect us all in some horrible way. And so if we do something now, then maybe we can stop that from happening.
I would want to do something about it, though the people who really have that power don't really care.
It's not like there's an unstoppable force doing this to us. We can choose not to, do this to the planet and the environment.
I want to live in a world where children could look out the window and not see a sea of sadness, but somewhere where things thrive.
We're probably gonna have to, evolve.
Hey kids!
Hey kids,
Want to help us get the word out?
will you join us? Go to weyourchildren.org
WeYourChildren.org.
and upload your own video.
Upload your own video. Add your voice.
Tell your adults how you feel.
Tell your adults how you feel. Tell your adults how you feel.
And tell your friends to join us too.
If we can get 1 million kids
A million kids!
to add their voice,
then grown-ups will have to listen.
the grown-ups will have to listen.
Go to WeYourChildren.org.
weyourchildren.org.
We are your children.
We are your children.
Okay. There you go.
And welcome to Jamie. Jamie, we are so excited to have you here with us on the 11 Days of Global Unity. And we're so excited to hear what you think about that video that we just shared, and maybe any words that you have to say.
And would you like to introduce her so that, Karen?
I did introduce her. That's Jamie. I did introduce her.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jamie. I'm a 17-year-old climate justice activist from Seattle, Washington. I'm a founder of the Youth Climate Justice International Movement 0 Hour, which led youth climate marches on July of 2018 in 25 cities around the world and continues to be a major force for climate action and climate mobilization, especially from high schoolers. And I really find that video very, it hits home because those kids, and when I say those kids, it's really my generation too, because I'm 17. It's sad that kids that young have to have such a strong understanding of the environment and the destruction that's headed their way. Like the fact that they already know what's coming for them, that they already feel fear when young, is something really horrible and something that I wouldn't wish on anyone.
So your signal is breaking up a little bit, Jamie. If you can maybe find another position or something like that.
Could you guys not hear me?
No, we could.
No, I heard you.
It was just breaking up a little bit, but it sounds
Okay.
Keep going, sure.
This is the only quiet place in my house right now. Yeah, so that's why I'm fighting. That's why I'm standing up for climate justice in my life and my future, because we don't have any more time to take action. And this is 0 Hour. This is why I started an organization called 0 Hour. Back in 2017, when 0 Hour started our marches, there was no school strike movement, there was a big climate strike movement, there was no big youth climate mobilization movement. And so we had to build that for ourselves. We had to create that for ourselves. And now seeing how it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger is really incredible, because it's going to take a huge mass mobilization in order for us to save life as we know it on this earth. And not just one mass mobilization, but constant pressure, lobbying, direct action. And we just have to kind of stop the world for climate action, because that's the only way that we're gonna get there.
And Rick, we also have another guest here that you could introduce that is here to share on behalf of International Children's Month.
Okay. So Heidi Little is an internationally appreciated love and light singer-songwriter, a master in social emotional learning, an educator, curriculum designer, and platform developer. She is the co-founder and director of International Children's Month, the founder of the Center for Advancement in Social Emotional Learning, the Children's Global Waves of Love, and the latest endeavor, Youth in Action International Groups. And Heidi is a creative developer and outreach coordinator for We the World, and is spearheading the children and youth theme for the 11 Days of Global Unity. Welcome to the 11 Days of Global Unity TeleSummit, Heidi Little.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Jamie, I am a huge fan of yours. Thank you so much for everything that you and your massively well-organized group of young people are doing. The work of these children is fantastic. If you go to thisiszerohour is it .org or .com, Jamie? Are you guys
.org. Thisiszerohour.org, and you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at thisiszerohour.
Yeah, baby. And these kids deserve your respect and support, and get behind them as much as you possibly can. Jamie founded the 0 Hour movement after she realized that other things weren't really working out. She took the bull by the horns and she launched this thing. And they have a really beautiful, well-spoken group of children who are, taking on really, really big issues that I think all of us can get behind and support, because now is absolutely past time, as I'm sure most people are seeing, feeling, and understanding. And so if you're looking for when to dive in or what to dive into, this is it. This is the thing to dive into and to get behind. We got to get behind our children because their voices are heard. They're heard in Parliament. When a child says something that's super duper important, it far outweighs some person who is in their 50s or 60s and able to afford to drive a Camaro and, just living the life as we've been told we should live it. Things are not as we were told they are. This is not something that can just be passed off onto other people to go ahead and think that it can be taken care of that way. It's up to each person as love in action. So International Children's Month has been around for 7 years, and I founded it because I saw that children weren't getting any respect, love, or care for their voices, for what they thought, for what they felt, for what they wanted to see happen. So International Children's Month mission, and there's a rooster to coo behind me and tell everybody it's the truth and the dawning of a new time, love, care, and respect of all the children on earth. We all know there's a bunch of stuff happening with the children that's coming to light now that needs us to really take up the responsibility, care, and respect of our own inner children and to help everybody. I believe that we are all children of this planet. So we're starting this new thing called Youth in Action. And of course, we're fiscally sponsored with We the World. And so we're just joining forces with We the World as the children and youth team. So June is International Children's Month. It's 30 days to really, really raise the bar of love, care, and respect, and for celebration and activities. We run a 365-day-a-year free thematic social emotional learning activity platform for the world to use. We're reaching a couple of thousand people a day right now with the return users of 50%, which means people are actually doing the activities. We're teaching how to care for the planet, water consciousness, medicine wheel work, how to work together in groups, how to heal ourselves of things that are getting in the way so we don't feel like we don't have a voice. We do have a voice. It's a matter of what happened to us in our lifetime that took that away from us. It's time to reclaim our voices, to stand in our light and our truth, and to really be the change that is needed here now. And you don't want to live in the future that doesn't have us working for it, trust me. It is very scary. So we're going to get together in love and in care and respect. And we're going to do the work now so we can still sit on the beaches in the future. So we can still go to outdoor air concerts. So that we can still enjoy our parks and our fresh food and the air that we breathe and the water. This isn't about anything other than a clean, fresh drink of water and a bath. You don't want to bath in your hair chemicals. You do not want to bath in the gasoline from your cars. You don't. Trust me. It's stinky and yucky and dirty and gross. And so now we're just going to clean things up. Just like when you have a party. Well, the party's over. Time to clean up so we can throw another party. And I think that that's pretty much where we're at. So I want to hear more about This Is 0 Hour and how people can get involved with your organization. Jamie, can you just share with everybody what we're going to start youth groups, but I think you guys already have youth groups, or how's that work?
Not to reinvent the wheel. So a lot of the work that 0 Hour does, so we organize mass mobilizations of young people to take action on the climate crisis. We laid the groundwork for the current youth climate strike movement, being like the precursor to it. We organized recently a youth climate summit in Miami, Florida, where we trained about 350 young people. That's a very convenient number, 350, as in the 350 parts per million that we need to get down to in order to solve climate crisis, to be climate justice leaders in their community in Miami, which really, really needs it. And we're currently working on preparing for the September 20th strikes. We're a part of the coalition that is putting those on. So we're working really hard to put on the September 20th youth climate strikes, New York City, Washington, D.C., Seattle, all over the world. And then we are also working on, we have this campaign called Getting to the Roots of the Climate Crisis, where we have right now about 400 ambassadors, but we're working on training and training more. To be ambassadors, what that means is to be a 0 Hour ambassador. So we at 0 Hour focus on getting to the roots of the systems of oppression that caused the climate crisis in the first place. I remember you said something about us like cleaning up after ourselves at a party or something. I'm gonna have to disagree with you a little.
Okay, good. Go for it.
It goes way, way deeper than that. It's not simply that we've dirtied something and that then we need to clean it so we can dirty it again. It's more of we are entrenched in these immense systems of oppression. The reason why we are in this climate crisis in the first place is because of colonialism. It's because of initial colonization, of the genocide of indigenous cultures, and it's because of that mindset that came from colonization, that everything is for sale, everything is for extraction, we can take, and no one can stop us, and that we are entitled to this land, and that the land and the water and the animals and other people are inferior to us. And so that mindset, I'd say that the climate crisis really started in 1492 versus the Industrial Revolution, because the Industrial Revolution only happened the way that it did after the exploitation. The way modern capitalism emerged was really the start of the climate crisis, the modern way of the people having colonies of land that they're not attached to, land they don't live on, land that they don't know how to care out, with people that are used as property to just extract from it and extract until there's nothing left. And that's really the root of the climate crisis. And so the climate crisis is very much intertwined with racism, colonialism, patriarchy, and unfortunately capitalism, which is actually the root of this problem. And so we have to actually get to the roots of those issues, be a little radical, and have those really hard discussions. And that's really what the 0 Hour Getting to the Roots campaign is about. So we train young people on the real roots of the systems of oppression that started the climate crisis, and then they go and give that presentation to their schools and communities. Awesome. So they become ambassadors, and so then they're spreading the word and kind of spreading, because the reason why it's so important to educate people about this is because you cannot solve an issue with the same thinking that caused it. Albert Einstein defined insanity as trying to solve an issue with the same thinking that caused it. Right now, a lot of the mainstream solutions are trying to colonize and capitalize our way out of an issue caused by colonizing and capitalizing. Mm-hmm. A lot of the people in power that you see look like the same people who caused this problem and come from their line of families. You trace back, they were slave owners. You trace back, it's these, they don't come from they're not from like indigenous folks or people like that, who are the people that you see. Like indigenous folks in frontline communities are the ones doing the real work, but the people in power, unfortunately, are not them. And so we're in this weird position where we're forced, there are these top-down colonial solutions being forced as it's like trying to hoping paint will stick to the wall. These top-down colonial solutions trying to solve a problem caused by top-down colonialism, colonized capitalism on steroids. And It's just how do you guys even think this is going to work? A lot of people get super uncomfortable when we at 0 Hour. The reason why 0 Hour doesn't get as much media and funding and attention and respect as, like, let's say, like a lot of the newer youth climate movements, is because we tackle these controversial issues. We're not just like, hey, we like the climate, but it's like, we need you to acknowledge your own privilege. And a lot of leaders get kind of like off put by that because they're not willing to cede their power. So that what they want to do is they want to survive while maintaining the same power structures where they're on top. They're like, okay, we need to solve this, as in solve it only to the extent that I can still be on top, versus, oh, darn, I need to take a step back. We need to, give this land back to Indigenous folks. We need to do this, that, the other. True climate justice. They don't actually want that. And when I say they, I mean a lot of, like, people that you would consider politicians in power who say that they're climate champions. Now, I'm not talking about like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because she's a real climate champion and like she gets it. And like people like her who come from those communities, like in the Bronx that are worst affected, like those are the people who should be in power. And like, if I could clone her and Ilhan Omar and the rest of them and just have them be in charge, they get it. Women of color who come from poverty and who come from being on the receiving end of systems of oppression and climate change get it. But men in power who, white rich men in power who come from, this, and I'm not saying that rich white men can't solve this or can't be a part of this at all. I'm just saying that perspective, that colonizing perspective is screwing us over, and it doesn't even come from a malicious intent. It's all they know. And so that's why
it's that mindset. It's that mindset of entitlement, and that mindset of entitlement is what's destroying our planet, and that's a big part of, I'm so grateful for you, Jamie. Wow. I'm so grateful that you're not buying what they're selling, and that you're really sharing this in a big way. I really would love for you to reach out to me after the show too, because I'd like to get you on more platforms as much.
Yes, definitely. I'd be happy to. Yeah. I also wanted to point out, and this isn't like me trying to call anything out, but this is just like, there's only, to the extent there's only so much that I can speak to this issue, being a light-skinned person. And like right now on this call, there are like, I don't see any like Black folks or people on the front lines of this issue. And that's not me calling, every single space doesn't have to have that, but I'm just saying that I see this usually. And it's kind of sometimes awkward for me because I know these systems of oppression, I study them, I work on this, but I'm someone who in some way benefits from them. Yes, I am Hispanic. Yes, I'm Jewish. Yes, I'm gay, and all these other like identities that are oppressive to me. But I'm a very light-skinned person with financial stability as of now. And so it's kind of weird, talking about this when, if there was a darker skinned person in the room right now, or someone actually from the front lines.
Well, I'll tell you what, my mom was born in a concentration camp in Germany. So my entire family's been wiped out by oppression. So you're talking to somebody who has this in her DNA, and I do this fight for the good fight for always since I was born.
Yeah.
And, I was one of the founding team members of Idle No More, and we did 176,000 water medicine wheels with the only Paiute water keeper left on Earth in 2014. Or 2000, when was that? Wait a second, 2013, 2014, yep. And so, I'm white, but honestly, I'm so over all of that stuff also, because we all have hearts.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what's really important here, is that we all have hearts.
We the world is about really uniting us as a family and not seeing the color of our skin and not realizing that's something.
But I think it's
super important.
It's very important
people to be happy with who they are. You know what I mean? Like for who they are and the identities that they have and the places.
I do want to say that
it's very important what Jamie is saying.
It
is trying to say something here.
Absolutely.
So
I think it's super important what Jamie is talking about, and we do try to make sure there's a diversity of voices. And if you look at the entire series of the
oh no, this isn't me calling out this specific webinar. This is just
but it's important, and we talk about it on every organizing meeting.
We have this
organizing meeting. We talk about it, and And it's very important to point that out. There are a couple of things I want to react to in what you said, Jamie, which
Super important
I
stuff.
think it's important. Like you're going down into the roots of the problem, which is really incredibly important. And I wonder if you are aware of the work of Riane Eisler. Riane Eisler identifies what she calls domination culture and the origins of domination culture with its catastrophic hierarchy of oppression and hierarchy of power. She traces that way back, way before, like thousands of years ago, basically.
Before Columbus, yeah.
Yes, way before that. No, it's like five to 10,000 years ago. And what she traces it, what she traces it to is patriarchy, and as the ultimate hierarchy between human beings that eventually led to the hierarchy that is manifested in so many different ways now. But she traces it back to that.
I've heard that. Is that from a book? What's that book called?
Yeah, the book is called The Chalice and the Blade. Mm-hmm. And it's like the two symbols of, human beings, like the chalice, right, and the blade. So I think it might be interesting for you to get into that. And what she's working towards, and she's been an advisor, she's been on our advisory board for many years, and she was one of the honorary co-chairs, along with Jane Goodall and so many others, of the launch of 11 Days. And Riane talks about moving from domination culture to partnership culture.
Yeah, exactly.
And another way of putting partnership culture is a culture that reflects we consciousness and the common good. I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about. So my question to you is, given the economic and environmental imbalances that are created by all these short-term interests and the most powerful, special interests in society, do we need to achieve global unity and this shift towards we consciousness that prioritizes the common good in order to keep the climate crisis and the mass extinction of species and all of that from becoming irreversible in the next 10 years or so? What do you think?
Yes, we do. I also wanted to respond to something said. The way that we have to do this, we have to find unity and partnership, but we have to find unity and partnership in looking at our differences and seeing each other's differences and seeing, I know a lot of people, they'll say things like, oh, like, let's all be colorblind and blind to each other's, differences, and just like, we're all one race, the human race. But like that is invalidating people's identities. Like, color blindness is not the answer, and blindness to people's difference is not the way that you overcome this and achieve that partnership. It's through acknowledging people's differences. Yes, I see, the beauty of you and your blackness, not, oh, I'm colorblind, I don't see anything. I see that, and I see what you've been through. We come from different people. My ancestors, actually not my specific ancestors, because my specific ancestors were like being persecuted Jews in Russia, and then my other ancestors were being persecuted in Colombia. So not me specifically,
Gotcha.
But people of my color have been like harming you, and so I think the way that we do this is through restorative justice, where we see each other's differences. We see, like, I'm completely different than you, but that's totally fine, versus we're just going to wipe it away. I'm like, I see a lot of people, that, oh, I'm like, they'll brag, oh, I'm colorblind. And it's like a lot of people of color see me insulted by that. Like, no, hi, I'm here. You're blind to me. When you say that, means you can't see me. It means you say that I don't matter. And so I think I agree 100%. Also, I've been meaning to read The Chalice and the Blade for so long, because I give these presentations. I've been kind of I forgot to mention, I've been kind of like on climate, this thing called the climate tour that I do, that I pretty much, it's going to start again this next week, when I go to DC and New York City for this and all of this, where I go around the world and give this presentation, the Getting to the Roots presentation, like everywhere, and miss so much school. It's crazy. So I don't know how I'm going to pass senior year, but I hope so.
You got this.
And everywhere I go, people are like, you got to read The Chalice and the Blade, because I talk about patriarchy, but I think you're right. I think that like the patriarchy is really at the root of this. And so in order for us to, so now, you know, we can't go back to like Mesopotamia and be like, well, kids, let's not do this. No, we have to look forward. And right now we're facing mass extinction. And I've seen a rise of this
right.
fascism where there's this article about ecofascism that you can find in The Guardian, where it's like white supremacists are using, you know, we do need a panic about the climate crisis, but nothing in history, nothing good has ever come of a bunch of people in power panicking with not like without strategy. People are always like, we need to panic about the climate crisis, we need to panic. And I'm just like nothing good ever comes from people with prejudice and power panicking. Like, tell me one good thing that has come from a group of scared, angry white men panicking.
No.
Nothing. Nazism is what comes out of that. And there's a rise of that now where people, white supremacists, are like, see, like, it's the brown people in the global south, like, good, the hurricanes, like, it's a survival of the fittest Darwinism, the hurricanes got to wipe them out, and, like, good for us.
Oh, no.
Like, this weird, like, we have to, see, this is why we have to have a superior, you can't just blindly try to solve the climate crisis, because there are many ways that this thing could go. And when you're faced with something like mass extinction and existentialism, fascists are like, ooh, cool. So the fascists that aren't denying the climate crisis are using it to be like, this is why, like, using it. Like, I recommend everyone just look up eco-fascism in The Guardian. I don't know. I don't want you to go down some weird internet rabbit hole of like the actual fascists, but The Guardian does some good reporting on it. So we have to be unified. We have to be switch to that partnership culture in order to save ourselves, because the climate crisis worsens violence. It causes situations of panic, as we're seeing right now in the Bahamas, as we're seeing right now. And if that isn't handled correctly, that very quickly turn into genocide and all sorts of ugly things that we've seen in history before, when environmental unrest quickly turns to social catastrophe.
I think it's really important for people to realize the power of their thoughts and the power of their actions.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we have this, like Greta, for example, right? She said, our house is on fire. And it was meant as an emergency technique to get people's attention. However, hundreds of thousands of millions of people started to say the same thing. And now our house is literally on fire. We have all these fires raging. We have all this stuff going on. People are talking about, oh, is it hotter than this? And my whole thing now is, can we get back to climate balance? Can we get back to restoring climate balance, as opposed to touting and stating really horrific things that we are essentially helping make happen? Our inner dialogue creates our outer form. So we have to be really careful as human beings on this planet, because we are caretakers of this earth. And so we need to speak what we want, not what we don't want, and act how we want, not in the way of what we don't want. So conversely, and I honor you and thank you for everything you're saying, Jamie. It's really smart, really great. I totally agree with you in every single way. My whole people all around me are people who are like action heroes. So they're getting planes ready. They've got all their drop-off donation boxes ready for Dorian. Our partners, Coral Vita, are in the Bahamas, the coral farm, because our Youth in Action is going into coral farming and teaching youth how to plant coral and how to restore the reefs. And so we've been working on this scientific dive team workshop stuff with the International Coral Reef Association, and they're completely mobilizing to help one another. If you want to see people who know how to work together, check out the coral people, because they just know how to work together. I've been working in unity and peace for 30 years, and they're still challenged trying to figure out how to work together. However, it is coming along. But, and FYI, we are actually able to, inside of ourselves, go back to the beginning of atrocities and uproot it energetically. I literally just spent 2 weeks diving through the opiate crisis with millennials, and I was in emergency shelters, and this is other stuff that's facing our youth today, right? A lot of children are on drugs, or they've been hooked up into the opiate crisis, and so they're not able to participate because they're sick. So I tracked opiate usage and the beginning of it being something to use to enslave people to Mesopotamia, literally. And somehow somebody said to make the poppy, who wrote Flounders Field? I'm sorry, but oh my God. And then the only piece of money I brought home from Canada was a quarter with poppies on it, if you can believe it or not. So the poppy is not our friend, really, in any way. It started an opiate crisis and wars. Those were the very first wars that ever really happened on Earth, were over opiates and power and control over enslaving the people. So I totally get what you're saying, and I think that it's time for us all to rise up and to help each other as much as possible. Just like take somebody's hand if they're sick and struggling and lead them to a place where they can be helped. We've got to create all the new stuff, right, Jamie? We have to create the new systems. My work is in education primarily, and so I go back to the roots in education. When you say industrial revolution, I say, oh shoot, we're still living there. Our public school system is still the same model, and it's failing everybody.
Oh my God, I want to go off on that.
I know.
Yes, please do.
Go ahead, Jamie.
As someone living through that, I just started my senior year of high school, and oh my God. So I've been like researching about how, so for those of you watching, first of all, y'all like my shirt?
I love your shirt. Thank you.
I thought I'd give every one of you.
Yeah.
And no, the Industrial Revolution, the way the school system, okay, I'll put it this way. If someone has like an iPhone 5, everyone's like, what the hell? That's such an old iPhone. Like, oh my God, this is ancient. You need to switch it up. Right. If someone was like trying to phone you on like a telegraph, if you hear that there's sound downstairs, my mom's making Colombian hot chocolate for breakfast. So apologize for the noise.
Can't hear it. No problem. You're golden.
Okay, good. But if someone was just like held the telegraph and it's like, I'm going to call someone, you'd be like, that person's crazy. If you saw like a buggy from like 100 years ago, you'd be like, what drugs are they on? Like, what are you doing? Unless you're like in a reenactment, like thing, performance, you're never going to see that. Like, why would we use a car from 100 years ago? That's crazy. But we're using the same fuel and education system from 100 years ago. While the rest of the things, we got new iPhones every 6 months. We got new, like our technology's up to date. Everything's up to date, except for what's important, our education system and how we get our food and energy. Actually, no. How we get our food, we should have kept the way that we did hundreds of years ago. It was regenerative farming. That we should have kept. But instead that we, and I can go into that later. And I can go into that later, where, okay, let me just stay on track because I have so much that I want to say. But pretty much our school system is based off of churning factory workers, and it's based off of churning people to be cogs in the machine. People always say, oh, you know what, Jamie, you need to study hard and then you can become a good climate activist and then you can make a change. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Yeah, sure. I'm going to stay in school. I'm going to study, get my degree, blah, blah, blah. I'm in high school right now. But the, it doesn't teach you to think outside of the box. The school bells are meant to mimic factory bells. The grading system, A, B, C, it was meant to actually grade meat quality that the factory makers produce. So grade A meat. The work day, the 7-hour school day is meant to mimic a work day in a factory, even though the work days actually went kind of longer. And the chairs lined up, sitting, watching someone, it's teaching you how to be an assembly line worker. That was the point, training assembly line workers. Exactly. And even though we're not, everything is like automated now, and assembly worker, like the number, that's not the main population. That's how we're being trained into society. So a lot of times, like activism, the work that I do is despite of my school, and my school has been very supportive of me. Like they let me miss so much school for this, but great. But the school system in itself, is antithetical to what I'm fighting for. I go to school and I'm just like, bullshit. I go to like a Catholic school too, and they're just like putting this dogma like,
right. You're talking.
I just know it so I can pass the test. I'm just like,
no, it's perfect, and it's really important.
You're definitely talking my language now. Yeah. And as Karen may know, we've had some special shows on transforming the educational system, and everything you said. For me, the issue there is the whole thing is rooted in external motivation instead of internal motivation to learn. So if we were to change the goal of our educational
Yeah.
system, so that
And
it would be the goal would be to that students become self-motivated to learn, as opposed to the external motivation, the ultimate external motivation, which is money, right? So and leading up to that is grades and test scores and all of that stuff leading up to the ultimate external motivation. So anyway, there's a whole thing on that. So thank you for bringing that up.
And they're confused, right? And they're not understanding how to love themselves and how to take care of each other, because nobody's giving them even a moment to breathe, to understand, to connect to their hearts. That's what International Children's Month was created for. Also, the platform is everything the school system is not. It's like the partner parallel curriculum that really should be in place. That's what International Children's Month is. It's like all the things that everybody's not learning in the public system. So if you guys want to learn about that, please go to internationalchildrensmonth.com and utilize all the amazing teachers. And This Is Zero Hour is up there also. And we're going to funnel everybody through that wants to help. Jamie, how do they get on the group? Like, how do they actually get in a group with you? What's the process?
Okay, perfect, because I actually have to go right now. My mom is like, she just walked up in front of me and was like, Jamie, ya es tiempo para comer. But one more thing I want to say before I get into that. So I said something about regenerative farming. So my grandma, just so y'all know what I am, on my dad's side, I'm Jewish Ashkenazi, born in the United States. On my mom's side, my mom's an immigrant from Colombia. And my grandma actually grew up on a farm in Cachipai in Colombia, where it was like the most regenerative farming, no pesticides, nothing, but they grew like it wasn't like monocrops. Like I went to Iowa for like this retreat, and it was just monocrop, corn, as far as the eye could see. No, they grew platanos, plantains, they grew coffee, they grew papaya, mangoes, everything. They had like everything, and it was a carbon sink, because all the plants and animals, like they helped. The farm ran itself because all the plants helped.
Nope.
Mass animal agriculture and factory farming is one of the main causes of climate crisis that we also need to address, because everyone's always like fossil fuel. I can't speak. Fossil fuel. But we also have to address factory farming, and you see why the Amazon rainforest is burning. It's not because, like there was a campfire. The animal agriculture industry purposefully set those fires as a war against indigenous people, as a war against nature and our planet, so that they could make money off of industrial mass agriculture that destroys everything. The agriculture my grandma did was working with the land, and that's what we need to get back to. So if we were going to keep one thing from 100 years ago, this was even like 70 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's that agriculture, and regenerative agriculture is the only way that we can feed ourselves without killing ourselves. Yeah. So I have to go. So this is how you can connect with me and actually get involved. So number one, go to thisiszerohour.org, spelled the way it sounds, thisiszerohour.org. And on the website, you can find there's a form if you want to start a 0 Hour chapter in your community. If you know young people, our chapters are all youth led. So if you know young people who want to start chapters, have them go to thisiszerohour.org, and there's a form that they can fill. And our global outreach director will get back to you and kind of, help you start your chapter. We also really, really need donations. We're 100% volunteer run. I don't get paid for this work. We're a bunch of overworked high schoolers in the colonial education system, just trying to chug through that. College apps are starting, and SAT, and oh my God. So we really need your help, because the only way that we're able to do this amazing revolutionary work is through donations. And so thisiszerohour.org also has a donate button, and it also has like our story, and you can meet the young people, see the map of where we live, etc. So that's one resource. So I encourage everyone to open up a new tab, however you're watching this, and go to thisiszerohour.org. I also encourage you to engage with us on social media. As a youth-led organization, we are very, very social media savvy, and that is how we mobilize people. So you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at @ThisIsZeroHour. It's just the @sign, like usually This Is 0 Hour for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you want to hit me up personally, because I do my own thing. You can follow me on social media as well. It's just Jamie_Margolin on also Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And it's just my face. Like it's my face, and you'll see. But you can also hit me up and send me a message on social media. So please do follow me and send me a message.
Thank you so much, Jamie. And just so you know, the reason why we have 11 campaigns for change is because they're all interconnected. As you realize, it's not just one issue. Each issue connects and influences the other issues. So thank you so much for joining us. I know you have to go, and we're pretty much winding up anyway. Heidi, do you want to let people know how people can connect with you?
I gotta hop off now, but thank you guys so much for having me. It's been really great, and I'm really grateful to you all for giving me this opportunity to speak my truth.
Thanks, Jamie. We love you so much, and we appreciate your work. And I'll be in touch too about the whole the group work, because I think we can really help you with that.
Yes.
Email
definitely.
me too, and we'll schedule a time for you to be on my shows too, so we can definitely keep.
Definitely, I'd love to. Yeah. We'll talk soon, Karen and everyone.
All right, love and light. Say hi to your mom.
Thank you so much.
Tell her thank you. Okay, there she goes. Yeah, that's fabulous. It's
it's like a breath of fresh air to have somebody like that.
Well, of course.
Empower. Like she is so empowered in her words. I just am so inspired by her being that empowered. I think I want us to have more youth on these shows like that. Thank you.
Exactly.
So much, Heidi. Thank you.
So as we wind up, go ahead, Heidi. How can people connect with you? And
very exciting. So International Children's Month, the whole Youth in Action thing. You can go to internationalchildrensmonth.com, International Children's Month, MONTH.com, and we have a left-hand tab of all the different platforms, from water, earth, whole being, teamwork, self-love, to this year, which is International Children Love Taking It to the Streets, 2019. There's a Youth in Action thing right on the homepage, and on the left-hand side, we'll put This is 0 Hour up on and also how to get people to get their own group that way. But if you have children who are specifically interested in coral or forests right now, trees, forests, and coral, those are the two major groups that we're getting together right now to dive train, certify, and teach children how to grow and plant coral. And then also we are foundationalizing the forest work, what we want to do with the forest. And these are going to be lightly facilitated by an 18 and up mentor. So we're looking for those people in different areas of the world. And then a safe space for youth, children and youth to gather to have conversations about what they want to do. And then we'll supply them with the various different actions that they can take in the different areas of what they're interested in. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're dedicating the next 3 years of our lives. We are also a volunteer organization, as well as We the World is also a volunteer organization, and we all pretty much work for free as well. So do support Jamie and those guys, and do get to the platform and see all the different free activities that are there for you and your families to do. You can learn how to make a medicine wheel, which is really important. That's what helps restore balance to the planet. There are ways to work for climate balance that don't call for, stomping in the streets. There's also other ways that can be done. If you're not a stomp in the streets kind of person, we have other alternatives for you as well. And I think it's important to remind everybody that their climate action is happening September 20, right? Rick, is that the deal? September 20 all the way through, and you can
people are calling it a week of action, but it's starting on the 20th. I mean, there are several things that are coinciding. There's also a week of action to abolish nuclear weapons, which is going to be,
thank God,
that's going to be on our disarmament panel. We'll be talking about that. But so things are converging.
They are.
So in a way, it's coming back to that idea that we've talked about in the past, that we're not only working for peace on Earth, but we're working for peace with Earth.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
I love
exactly.
that you
And we
call
bring it. We, each one of us, bring that to the table.
Yeah, I love that you call it the climate balance. I think that if we could get, because our words are our wand, and I feel like when you say climate balance, it feels more like it's something that we can focus on what we want instead of what we don't want, and keeping that, having care for our climate.
Yeah.
And being in balance with it. I feel like using that hashtag climate balance would be a really good additional hashtag in conjunction with the climate crisis, just so that they can kind of merge, like you said, together, so that we can see that, yes, we had to see that it was a crisis, but now we need to just get it in balance.
Yeah, can we move forward into that? And I want to just share something that I heard Jamie say on another conversation that is what inspired me to invite her to this conversation today in the first place. And she said that it's like 0.2% of the plastics, the small plastics in the ocean, actually come from like straws and, the tops of your coffee creamer. And that what's happening is that the big conglomerate organizations that are doing 98% of the pollution have kind of made the public feel a bit like rape culture. She used it as like, say, rape culture. That woman wore a sexy dress, so she deserved to get raped. So instead they're turning it on to society and saying, oh, well, it's because you're using this and you're using that that's causing all the pollution. But that is not the case here. That is environmental psychological warfare. I think we need to really keep in mind here, the fact of the matter is the carbon and the pollution and all of the crap that's pouring into our air and our water from huge companies that are mass producing products and oil and gas is the problem.
That's
So
right.
thank God for everybody stepping up, making the straws and the cups and the everything. Because
I think that's a very important point.
We do need those things to change. Yes, absolutely. Right. And we are. Now it's time to demand. We don't need their manufacturing anymore. How many people can buy all the clothes that are in Walmart anyway right now? Come on. I think we just need to stop production, get a grip, and then relaunch with safety guidelines in place for the future. And I know that sounds crazy.
No, I agree.
It sounds like something that will totally change everything, but we need to totally change everything. Absolutely. So dig deep, stand strong, suck it up, Buttercup, because we got to just stop with the way it is so we can move forward into something that we can continue to live live in.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Heidi. And
thank you, Rick, and thank you, Karen. You guys are amazing.
We really hope that this show brought you back to we. Remember the 3 I's that make a we: to inform, inspire, and involve. That's how we go from a me society to a we society. So, Rick, how would you like to? What would you like to share with us as that quote that we have with our dear friend?
And before I do that quote, I just want to let people know how they can connect with We the World. And as Heidi said, it is an all-volunteer organization, so we also appreciate donations at we.net. And so there are a few ways that people can connect with us. If you go to we.net, you can sign up to join the We team right on the homepage there and become a volunteer coordinator and choose one or more of our 11 campaigns for change.
That's what Heidi and I are both.
Exactly.
Children and youth, and Karen's running the women.
Exactly. And then if you have an organization, you can sign up the organization to participate with one or more of the 11 campaigns and 11 days of global unity. You'll be put up on the partner directory and in other places, showcased your work, and of course we'll collaborate going into the
How many partners do we have now, Rick?
Very large number. I mean, we actually have thousands of organizations in our network, thousands of socially conscious organizations and businesses. There are more than 600 organizations that have taken the time to actually fill out that form. So it's over 600 that are participating with us in one or more of these 11 campaigns for change. I also want to remind people about the video that we opened this panel on, an urgent message from your children. You can connect with that with your children who are 12 years old and younger to create a video because people in high places, as we were saying, react much more to young people's efforts than they may be to the paid lobbyists and all of the seasoned activists that are out there. So it's really important to have our children have their voices heard.
Guardians sign their children up to the thing. It's all, it's very simple, streamlined, and it only takes a couple of minutes to upload your videos.
Exactly, and it's weyourchildren.org. We also have the Global Unity Calendar, which is a free public international calendar that's a resource for people and organizations to post their upcoming events and their announcements. And when you post on our calendar, it's synchronized with other organizations' calendars as well. So posting on our calendar shows up on multiple websites at the same time automatically.
And it lets us all know about the good work that each other are doing, which I think is really exponentially beautiful for everybody.
Keeps us in that empowered feeling of being part of the solution and talking about solutions. I loved yesterday, I loved talking with Earl James. He was so inspiring because he's talking about nature-based solutions. And that's what we need. He said that hashtag, we could use that hashtag, nature-based solutions, you know, because if we start talking about solutions and stop focusing on the problems and really start focusing on the solutions, just like Heidi has said in the beginning, our words are really co-creating the experience that we are having as a collective. So we have to really start talking to each other with kindness and care and compassion. And that's really important.
And letting healing happen, right?
Healing happen.
There are a lot of people who have been done wrong, right? Like it's everywhere. Everyone pretty much on the whole planet has been done wrong. So it's a time for healing and recovery and restoration. And those are all words that are empowering, right? Because we're moving in the direction of balance and health and care and respect and love for ourselves and each other. Can I just say real quick too, if anybody wants to get a hold of me directly, they can go to HeidiLittle.com. We have a new website that's getting unveiled in the next week.
Yay! And so much beautiful music too. Tell a little bit about your music, Heidi.
Oh boy. Okay, just really quick. I'm a Love and Light singer-songwriter, and I've been doing that for a very long time. And I work in the pop rock genres, and I love I have had to deal with a lot of stuff, and I use my music to help me rise through and above it, and hopefully others as well. And so far the critics are pretty kind to me so far.
Well, they should be. And you also have a musical that you've written that is a complete musical that you've written too. Right? Yeah,
it's full of social emotional learning, and it can be done as a healing and restorative practice for professionals in education, as well as with children and youth in community theater. And I just try to really blend social emotional learning, music, and social and environmental activism into everything that I do. So there's a lot of stuff there, and I love to support people. Karen Palmer's amazing. Rick Olfick is amazing. The We campaigns are amazing. The 11 Days of Global Unity are amazing. And I'm really feeling the power of our unity this year. Karen was saying that the other day. It feels a lot different this year. It really feels like birds of a feather flocking together, as opposed to, random crows and pelicans and, whatnot, just kind of going in whatever direction. We have a mission. It's time to save the world. That's the mission. And
it's 0 hour.
Yeah, and the children know it. They know they're here for something. So let them in on it.
And we
Don't
have
be afraid to talk. And it's better for parents and guardians to talk to their children about what's going on than for them to be hearing the stuff that's happening on YouTube, you know, with their different mentors and they have in the gaming world and, you know, all of the I know all about the YouTubers out there who are talking it up. But that being said, coming from a space of love and with hope, and also some kinds of solutionary activities or ways of thinking to move forward, that's going to make the difference between a child who is sad and depressed and really isn't sure how to live on this planet and the child that is active and says, oh, okay, I can do something. I can do something, because they can do something. Even the little babies are here to do something.
We've also created something for the 15th anniversary of the 11 Days of Global Unity. We have now the Gardens of Global Unity. So you can go to that website, Gardens of Global Unity. We are creating virtual gardens. And we started off with this vision. Today I'll be going to my local botanic garden and leading a led tour through the 11 gardens in our botanic garden. Now what you can do is you can just email me at Karen Palmer at We the World, and we can get more information. .org. Yeah, we can get all your information up on that website, so that if you have a garden or you have a park or a place that really sings to your heart, someplace that you just love to be at, we want to take that place and really feature it. And we're going to have all kinds of beautiful downloaded music, like Heidi's music, my music. We're going to have all kinds of meditations that you can download. All of this is going to be virtual and free. It's going to be a way for people to really, really connect with nature. So that's to really, we have well over 11 for the 11 Gardens of Global Unity. That was our goal. We are hoping to have 50 by April for the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. So we are inviting you. Again, you can go to Karen Palmer at wetheworld.org and you can email me directly, and I will help you to really take this and grow unity and kindness in your community. I've reached out to my local mayor, and we are dedicating our festival that is coming here in the end of September. Actually is right during International Peace Day, and we are dedicating our festival to be a garden of peace. And the mayor is going to make a whole dedication, and we are going to ask our city to grow more kindness and more unity. And how can we do that? By each and every one of us asking our mayor and asking people who are in power to help us to have a situation where we are utilizing these festivals for more unity consciousness.
Right.
Okay, on that note, let's close with that quote that you always ask me about, Karen.
Jonathan, love that quote. It's the best.
Our dear friend Jonathan Granoff said at the launch of We.net and the launch of the We campaign, when he spoke, he said, I hope that we expand so much that there is no longer any them. Thank you, and bye-bye.
No longer
love you.
them. Thank you, everybody. Bye, everybody, and thank you so much. Do something kind every day.
Bye.
Bye.